It's about belonging. Whatever we bring, from wherever we come, with whatever we have or whatever we need, no matter our story or our hopes, we belong and we can be used. Old and young, brittle or strong, shiny or dull, fractured, solid, large, small, differently shaped or oriented. There's room for everyone. Everyone fits. Everyone becomes part of a whole. Peter's image expands to include not only belonging in a building, it also includes being not tied to or needing a building. Belonging in and creating a space beyond a building to celebrate and serve God. They had come from a temple-centric people who had lost their temple. The Jesus movement did not depend on buildings, but on the sacred spaces they created wherever they gathered. Temples not made with hands. The church, not yet known as the church, was becoming known not as the building in which they met, but as the community built on the foundation of the living Christ, the one who was rejected, but who is now the foundation of a new movement. A people engaged with the holiness and embodying the presence of God, whether they were in a building or not. So Peter, drawing on their immediate history, if not their shared ongoing reality, calls them a chosen people, or royal priesthood. The dividing wall between the priests and the people broke down, and the priesthood of all believers emerged, preceding Luther's radical transformation in the Reformation of the church by 1500 years. And this is not just about worship, but about daily practices and engagement. If you have received mercy, Peter says, you will be merciful. If you have been forgiven, you will be forgiving. If you have been shown compassion, you will be compassionate. For those who withheld mercy offered justice only at a price, or saw compassion as weakness, this cornerstone was a stumbling block. It was an irritant. That is what Peter's people were up against. And we too witness that stumbling block being rejected. And the community built on the foundation of the living Christ being undone. When the community is seen itself being plastered over and its rough edges smoothed, its poor fitting corners worn down, so that justice and forgiveness and compassion are made more tolerable and less costly, we see that stumbling block becoming dispensable. We see that cornerstone no longer being necessary. That's what happens when the pomp and power of the church becomes celebrated at the cost of truth. When the public image of the church begins to look so good, that's when it loses its connection to its foundations. When church and state become too closely welded together. We know that the stumbling block has been worn away, and that cornerstone is no longer recognized as the foundation upon which we've been built. And if our building becomes just another building and not a sacred space, that is not about a building, but is about belonging to a people, to a movement that can be created whoever and however and with whomever we gather. if we can no longer be as solid as a rock, as though we were made of stone, or just another building, then we know that we're no longer built on that solid foundation of the stone that had been rejected. The Reverend Dr. Amy Richter, an Episcopal priest currently serving as a visiting academic at the University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, writes that such a spiritual house is tougher than concrete, yet life-giving. It's more lasting than granite, yet nimble. It's stronger than marble, yet supple, and more gorgeous than anything that can be carved from dead rock, even by the most talented human artist. We are this temple, not made with human hands, but made of living stones. Us, the people of God, called and loved and gathered and built up together by God, even when we are physically apart. A wonder. And we're not just hoping it all holds together. Don't move a muscle. If we all just stay still, we'll be fine. No, this is a temple of living stones built on Christ, the sure foundation. It's dependable, but creative. Just like the God in whose image we are made. Living and life-giving. We're tough, tenacious, and true together. Thanks be to God. May we always be a living temple, built on a sure foundation, rock solid, but living, breathing, celebrating, serving, always being built anew by the God who gives us life and new life in the risen Christ, the sure foundation of our faith. Thanks be to God.
Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart, in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart. Lord, I want to be more loving in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be more loving in my heart, in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be more loving in my heart. Lord, I want to be more holy in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be more holy in my heart, in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be more holy in my heart. Lord, I want to be like Jesus in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be like Jesus in my heart, in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be like Jesus in my heart.
Now let me send you out with these words of benediction. Once you were not a people, but now you are a people bound together in God's mercy and united in Christ's service. Go now in peace and confidence to love and serve your neighbors, those you know and those you have not yet met, those who may not look like you or who may know God by another name, but who seek still to serve with the compassion of Jesus the Christ, who is our way, our truth, and our life. Amen. Thanks be to God.